What up? What up? What up? Way earlier than normal. Apologies. But it was one of those you know, either I do it now or I do it never situations because I'm flying out to Indianapolis a little bit later this afternoon. Meanwhile, there were some games last night, a busy night in the WNBA, an Indiana Fever win, an ugly Indiana Fever win. Yet somehow I still see fans crashing out online. Look, guys, I think that Fever win, again, the loss and the win to the Dream were very encouraging to me. The loss was encouraging because the Fever played like crap, struggled in a matchup that is tough for them, and were down early and still lost by one. Still lost by one. And then the win, same deal. I mean, it was like the opposite side of the same coin, where they played like garbage for the most part. They went up against a team that is probably, I think the Dream might be the worst matchup for the Fever in the league, perhaps, just because of the combined size inside, and the Fever don't really have all that much mass, right? Like they're not like a massive team, and the Dream are massive inside with Brittany Griner and Brianna Jones. And not to mention shouts to Ryan Howard, Alicia Gray. I mean, that's a talented team. The Dream are a very talented team, but specifically matchup wise, I think it's a tough matchup for the Fever. Caitlin Clark struggled from the field about as poorly as you'll ever see her shoot. And they still won the game. They still won the game. So, I mean, they're 1 point away or 2 points away, I guess. We'd have to flip the other side. But if Natasha Howard's shot goes down in game 2, the Fever are 3-0. And how could anybody complain about that? By the way, they got a lot of new parts, a lot of new pieces, to integrate. And some of those new pieces have not been great so far. I mean, Tawana Bonner has struggled so far to score. I think eventually she's going to come off the bench, but that doesn't really concern me much either. I know Bonner is the third all-time leading scorer in WNBA history, but she was not brought over for firepower for the Fever. She was brought over for veteran leadership and versatility, in my opinion. Natasha Howard did play very well in this game. And then the twins, the Fever twins led the way for me, from my perspective in this. Sophie Cunningham and Lexi Hull. I said early in the game, it's time to put them in because the way that the Fever matched up with the Dream, I think you needed that combination on the floor. The energy that they bring, the movement that they bring, the spacing that they bring in combination. Sophie Cunningham just really knows how to play and is very skilled. Lexi Hull just has a tremendous amount of spunk. And when you put those two on the floor together, not only can you spread the floor and do you give Clark, pieces to hit on the cuts and on the run, but they also are competitive enough and fiery enough where you don't lose from a physicality standpoint. So I think the Fever twins provided a formula for future wins. So that was a positive for the Indiana Fever in the game. Sophie Cunningham being back is just a huge positive for the team. And then I see all these comparisons with Stephanie White and Christy Slight. What are people like? All right, I got a bone to pick with some Caitlin Clark fans, the extreme Caitlin Clark fans, who think she can handle the ball every possession and never come out of the game. It's not realistic. This is not a video game with the sliders turned off. Caitlin Clark cannot handle the ball every single time and play the entire game, every game, all season. You saw the way that the Dream were defending them, and that's why Stephanie White has Clark off the ball, so she doesn't have to fight through getting mauled all the time, and can get some easier shots. Trust me, the simple fix at any time is give CeCe the ball and go. And that's going to happen. It's going to happen. It happened in crunch time. Literally the play that decided the game. Clark had the ball, manipulated the defense, got it to Boston, and they won. But, on the other side, the most frustrating thing for me had nothing to do with the coaching and had everything to do with the inconsistency in the officiating. Because I do not mind the way that teams guard Caitlin Clark, right? Like, that's what they should do. Ryan Howard should take on the responsibility of guarding Caitlin Clark. She should want to, rough her up in a sense, get in her head in a sense, not make things easy for her in a sense, right? Like, that's competitive, good basketball. My issue is when you're allowed to bump Clark at the line of scrimmage, and the second that she reaches in at all, it's a touch foul. And I think that threw Caitlin off her game a little bit too, is that, she was in foul trouble early. But the way that Stephanie White is using Caitlin Clark is very similar to the way Steve Kerr uses Steph Curry. Steph Curry don't have the ball every single time. A lot of times they use him off because you know what else? Not only does it free him up for easier shots, like it would, ideally free Clark to come off a curl, get an open three, but the defense has to have their head on a swivel instead of their head in a silo. That makes sense? I think it did. So, the extreme Clark fans need to calm down. And Fever fans, there's no reason for crash outs. We'll see how they do against the Liberty. But this is a team with a bunch of new pieces and a bunch of new personnel. They just got Sophie Cunningham back. And they're almost they're right there. When it comes to 3-0, right there. We'll get to the member chats and super chats in a minute. I don't have a ton of time today, like I said, because I'm doing this early and I got to get to the airport. But wanted to hop in and discuss. So we'll get back to the Fever in just a second. But I do also want to touch on the Chicago Sky, because I think that's a noteworthy story. The Chicago Sky have been awful. Flat out awful. And Angel Reese has struggled mightily. They have the worst plus minus through 2 games in WNBA history. And that's a team thing, right? But Reese also has been rough. Uncharacteristically even. We know she struggles at the rim. She's been really bad there. 23% or something within 5 feet to start the year. And she leads the league in turnovers per game. And when you look at the body language of that team right now, it does not bode well. I would say, yes, it's early, but things are very concerning in Chicago. That I think is a fair assessment of the situation. Just look at Camilo Cardoso. I think this sums up the Sky's season so far. Right there. That's it. Just put that on a loop. There's the Chicago Sky's season so far. Not good. They've been the worst team in the league to start the year, and this was a team that was built to try to win right now. They made that trade where they traded their draft pick, which obviously matters. And on top of that, they also gave up a swap. They also gave up a swap to make that move. So, and I even see the Reese fans getting frustrated, which I didn't even know was possible, right? I didn't even know it was usually you get attacked. If you say Angel Reese didn't have a good basketball game, you get attacked. You're making some sort of character assassination or societal cultural dissertation. But in this case, I even see the Sky fans. Because it's bad. And Tyler Marsh looks a little out of his depth. Just I think he needs to step up and assert himself. And I'm not even just talking yes, there was the viral play where Reese missed it over and over again at the rim. I'm not like, look, I get it. People are going to use that to dunk on her and make fun of her and all those things. But that's not what I'm talking about the overall performance. I mean, they got smoked by the Fever and they got smoked by the Liberty. And their star is shooting 20-something% within 5 feet of the basket to start the year, with the worst plus minus in the league while leading the league in turnovers. Not good, Bob. Not good. All right. I will get to you guys early in the show today, like I said, because I do have to get on a plane in a bit. Please subscribe to the channel. Member chats, super chats are going to go first. As always, check the links in the description as well. I wrote 2 articles this morning myself. One on the Fever Twins that I just discussed. That's on Indiana Fever on SI. And one on the Chicago Sky. That's on Women's Fast Break on SI. So you can check out both of those articles in the description below. I got up early today, knocked out 2 articles, knocking out a live stream. Then hopefully I'll knock out on the plane. We'll see. I can't sleep in vehicles. It drives me crazy. I wish I could. It would be so much nicer if I could sleep in motion. We'll get to the member chats and super chats first. Like I said, DMB 6622. Unlike last season, these coaches scout and prep differently for each team. So many just the same approach we had last season, wanting CC to do it all herself. I trust Steph to adjust. Yeah, do we trust Caitlin Clark or not? I guess that would be the question to all the fans who are so up and up. Caitlin Clark, who has repeatedly called Stephanie White a basketball genius and talked about how much she respects her basketball mind and all that. Do you trust Caitlin Clark? Or are you just anything but Caitlin Clark having the ball every time is the worst thing that's ever happened to society in basketball? I mean, again, I don't think I think it was a good win. I would qualify that as a good win. It was an ugly win. There's no doubt about that. But it was a good win. You know, good teams win ugly. That's what happens. That's what happens. In fact, let's play the locker room speech because I saw that getting some buzz and attention, and I don't even think I've heard that yet. Here's Stephanie White in the locker room with the Indiana Fever players after the game.
And big plays at key moments. I mean, you know, DD coming in the ball game. Toughness, the defense, being a ball mover, huge, huge. I mean, so way to come back. Gee, hell yeah. AB, you stayed in it. Hell of a job. DB, you were a killer on the glass. Your defense on those long guards made it hard. You made it hard on them. Kels, that big time 3. That was huge, Tosh. What about it? Everybody is engaged every time out. Y'all, this is what it's going to take. This is a display of the depth that we have, right? If it's not your night, someone else is going to step up, right? It's not always going to be easy. Teams are going to defend us in a lot of different ways. They're going to try to take 1 or 2 away. But when we get contributions like this on both ends from everybody, we're going to find ourselves in the win column. Get some rest.
I mean, look, spot on. The coach is spot on right there. DeWanna Bonner, shout out to her. Like she said, I think she had 8 boards. You know, not scoring much, but 8 boards. Kelsey Mitchell did hit that huge 3. You know, I jumped up out of my seat. And that's the thing about Kelsey. She doesn't have a conscience, right? Which is great. She can struggle, and she did not play great in this game. But she'll still take that big shot. She ain't afraid of the moments. Natasha Howard was excellent. And then I've talked about the Twins and how they keyed the win. Who else did Stephanie White shout out there? Dantas. You know, Dantas came in for a size matchup there in the first half and gave them some minutes. Mimi Porter with the super chat just saying CC, by the way, didn't hit a 3. in this game. First time in her WNBA career, she hasn't hit a three. And here's the thing about Clark. Like Clark, um, I give her credit for fighting through. I give her credit for her toughness and everything. But obviously, she didn't have a great game, right? Like, obviously. But her stat line in the great game is the one that, like, Paige Beckers had the other night. It was probably even better. And everyone's like, this is the greatest thing. For those who like the Jay-Z references, what does he say on the song? My worst is better than your best, basically. I mean, I think that's essentially the line. to some, I should have the quote. What song is that on? But you get the point. My first is better than your last. My worst is better than your best, is basically what he says. Kevin Zwicker, now while an undefeated season is out of the question, 43-1 is still on the table. Indeed, the Fever can still go 43-1. Let's hope. We'll see how they do against the Liberty. Michael Martin says Reese is shooting 22% from the floor, 34% from the charity stripe. Is it only 22% from the floor? I think she might be a little bit better than that from the floor, but she's shooting 22% from within 5 feet, but maybe I guess all her shots are within 5 feet. So that's probably true. I forget that all her shots are within. Yeah, she's shooting 23% from the floor. Oh, nah. Not good. Horrific. Brett Atwood says that locker room looks like a closet. That's in Atlanta. I like their court. Also, this is what I was talking about before. Kevin Twin Magic, going through the member chats first, then I will get to everybody else. Member chats, super chats go first, guys. Charles 19, Robin, I agree with the Kerr Curry analogy. Yeah. AJ's here. Are you still here, AJ, or you just dropped that comment and bounce? Been a minute since I've seen you in the live chat, you bum. Mimi Porter, CC fouled a few times but never called. Look, I do think Clark gets a rough whistle. I do believe that. She gets allowed to be like hacked and mugged, and they don't call, which is fine physically, but call it. That's all. And then don't call her for touch fouls. But I just don't see how like she gets to 4 fouls and Ryan Howard's sitting there without 4 fouls, considering the way she was defending her. But hopefully the refs adjust. Because one thing Caitlin Clark does not get is a special whistle. Let's put it that way. She gets a special whistle in the wrong direction. Space Time. Thank you, Space Time. Appreciate it. Appreciate it. Lisa Diaz, CC mediocre night is a highlight reel for many others. Good team win. Yeah, I mean, look, there's no getting around it. Clark did not play her best game, but she persevered and toughed out a win and made key plays. That's what happens sometimes. It ain't always going to be your best. I mean, the greats have off nights. And let me credit Atlanta, too. I came away impressed with Atlanta. I'm going to give the Dream credit. I think they're going to be in the conversation all season after watching these games. Definitely. Lisa adds that CC and Ryan were teammates for USA. Yeah, I mean, look, I don't think they hate each other. I mean, who knows? Like, they seem friendly enough but I mean, that's competitive spirit and fire. And so, like, I cannot stand the grifters And they know what they're like. The people that don't watch basketball, who just go out of there. It's just like the people who, these extreme opinions, like they're using the WNBA. They're just like like I think the racism narrative has been weaponized. The other narrative gets weaponized the other way. Like Clark is being attacked and harassed and targeted. She's being defended. She's the best player. They are allocating extra personnel resources and strategic tactics against her. And the way that you play somebody, especially star, generally, especially guard like Clark, physical, rough her up. Make her think about it. That's normal. Hell, you go back to the Jordan rules or anything. That's exactly what Stephanie White would do to Caitlin Clark, did have her team do to Caitlin Clark. So, we just got to remove so many of these nonsense narratives around the WNBA and focus on the hoops, because one side is and I'm not talking about like legitimate things that are said or all, but I do think there is like this collective effort to rail against Clark and the Fever's popularity by trying to make people feel bad for rooting for them. And then on the other side, there's, and again, a lot of this, for the most part, almost none of this is from actual fans. But from the other side, you get this, like, look at these girls targeting Caitlin Clark because she's straight and white. Shut up. I ain't never seen you comment about nothing else before or say the same thing about an NBA game when that happens all the time. Dawn Staley had it right, at least the one bit on the Breakfast Club, she said. Sports, let them compete. Let them play ball. Judge it like you would the dudes. It's not dainty princess bowl. Get tired of it. The refs just need to make the right calls. Officiate the game correctly, properly. That's all. Pete P says, Robin, CC was clearly targeted last year. The 18% of flagrants against her does not lie. Go back and look at last year. Almost all of those flagrants came from the Chicago Sky. You remove the Chicago Sky flagrants, and she was flagrant fouled like twice the whole year. Clark has a flagrant foul this year. She's probably got 18% of flagrant fouls this season. The anime rapper, thank you. People keep forgetting Stephanie White booted CC out of the playoffs with the exact style of defense. Yes, exactly. But yeah, beyond this guy, because there was the Angel flagrant and DeShield flagrant and Kennedy Carter. Did they even call that a flagrant? I don't even think, did they? But beyond that, she was like flagrant fouled once or twice the entire year. And no, I'm not straddling the fence, Pete. I am telling you what I think. I'm so sick of this stuff sometimes where you all act like I'm pretending to have an opinion or trying to play. I am telling you what I think. You don't have to disagree. The DeShield play was out of pocket when she checked her. The Kennedy Carter play was out of pocket, off the ball. I don't remember another play last year where I thought Clark had an out-of-pocket foul on her. Those are the two. And yeah, she's getting hammered at times and not getting calls. That's on the refs. But I can't think of really anything else. The Twins came off the bench, and Natasha Howard was great. I've literally sat here and said a million times how I think Natasha Howard is the biggest addition that the Fever made in the offseason and praised her. But I think specifically, particularly in this matchup, Lexi Hull and Sophie Cunningham made a huge difference. I think together in tandem, they're going to make a huge difference. And if you also look at it, Hull was plus 14 in 27 minutes. Sophie Cunningham was plus 10 in 20 minutes. Those were the two highest plus minus numbers on the team. So that's how. Y'all, like, I'm not, I got no like agendas here, y'all. Like, people need to stop being so soft. This is professional hoops. Let them play. Geez, yeah. The WNBA like discourse is the softest thing in the history of existence. Copterman says, I mean, they play Cece hard because they have to. It's the strategy. Speaks to her greatness. Exactly. That's what you should do. It's a compliment. Dude says, I thought I would never say this, but I missed last season's Fever team, not this new garbage coach and the team we have now. Do you remember how last season's Fever team started? Are we like really doing this? Do you remember? Because you would be, if this Fever team started like last season's Fever team, you would be in cardiac arrest right now. I mean, last season's Fever team was 1-8 to start the season. Lost the first game of the season by 21. Second game of the season, they lost by 76, 86, 96, almost 40 points. Then they lost by 11. Then they just lost by 4. Then they just lost by 2. Finally, they won, but then they lost by 19. Then they lost by 6, and then they lost by 15. They were 2-9, 3-10. You missed that? I mean, I agree with this, Henry. I agree. You know, the refs, that's for the refs. Like people missing last year's team. What is wrong with y'all? Come on. Like it's like you're addicted to crashing out. I swear. Like Stephanie White is really bad. Based on what, y'all? What is questionable? What like this issue is like, what is the problem? Point to me the specific problem. It's a 44. Not only do you want to try different things in combination, you have to work this stuff out in the regular season to be ready for the playoffs. Anymore. I don't think this Fever team has 20 wins in them. CC doesn't need to be starting, period. That's right. Yeah. I don't even know what y'all are talking about. And again, the thing about like the ball thing, the off ball thing, do you realize how quickly that can be fixed? Like, you just give her the ball. And you don't think Caitlin Clark can go get the ball? You don't think Caitlin Clark has the authority on the court to go get the ball at any time? She does. All right? You don't want to give the team the same look every single time down the floor. Not to mention wearing Caitlin Clark out. You got 3 games in 5 days. You want the poor girl like spent so she has no lift on her jumper? Players cannot handle the ball every single time down the floor while playing the majority of the game and play defense and be expected to perform over the course of such a long season. I mean, come on. And this prepares you. BG fouling out did really help. She's been off ball for parts of the game, Connie, not the entire game. She was on ball at the end of the game. And again, you know how easy it is to get her on the ball? You give her the ball. It's an easy fix. These are all things you work out in the beginning of the year. Or especially the stuff that's new. The team is one Natasha Howard mid-range jumper away from being 3-0. Katie says, do you think they will play more run and gun soon? I've seen people compare how Fever are playing now to how the Sun played last year, which I really don't see. Well, they did in game one. I mean, first of all, you got to get stops to play run and gun, right? And they didn't get stops in the second game. So that was a problem. And this game was just ugly. It was just mucked up. That's a good thing to be able to play the way the Sun played. The Fever last year could not play the way the Sun played. You want to be able to, you want to be able to be a Maserati and a pickup truck. Thank you, Space Time, for another super sticker. I appreciate it very much. Thank you. Get you a man who can do both, right? Is that the saying? Tulip plays. Oh, wait. Jeff says, please, the Sky terrible again. We should just hope the Dream are highly underrated. I think the Dream are highly underrated. I think the Dream are damn good. Tulip plays says Ryan clamps Cece anytime she's on her both games. Cece doesn't like length and athleticism. No one does. And then they're also allowing Howard to get away with an extra level of physicality. But credit, Ryan Howard's, to be honest, Ryan Howard should be better than she is, at least relative to the rank. Because from a talent standpoint, she should be amongst the best players in the league. And she should get there, and hopefully she will get there. Because she has the talent to be right at the top on offense and right at the top on defense. It's about consistency. And you see some of it, she made a stupid foul at the end of the game. Clark missed one of the free throws, but it was just a reckless, dumb foul off the ball, when they were in the penalty. And those are the kind of things that she needs to work on, I think. The Fever also, I think it was Howard that fouled. She was making more of a play on the ball. Peggy says, do you think Cece is getting tired running screens while being held? Yes. I think either way, that's the goal of the other team, right? When you think the other team is just sitting there going, you know what? We should just let Caitlin Clark do what she wants. Or are they going, we got to do everything in our power to make things uncomfortable for Caitlin Clark? That's what a basketball, and I think the Dream have a good coach in Smesko, by the way. Nathaniel with a super sticker. Appreciate it. Thank you all. Member chats and super chats go first. And I do think the Dream are just a tough matchup for the Fever specifically. More than the Liberty. Not saying the Fever are going to beat the Liberty, but I think the Dream 1-to-1 are a tougher matchup for the Fever than the Liberty. Yeah, the basketball's about matchups too. And when you look at the Fever, they added some size and length. Howard is tall, Bonner is tall, but the only player on Indiana who's big is Dantas. Aaliyah a little bit. But really, even Timpson and Turner, who didn't play, they're not big. They're not, wide. Dantas is in Boston are the two who can sort of play that way. And the Dream maybe have the two most massive players in the league in combination. You're not going to see that against Jonquel Jones. Might be a problem, but Stewie ain't that, Doesn't mean anybody's better or worse, but these are DMB 6622. New York Liberty is more of a finesse team comparatively. I think we'll see CC on ball and much more up tempo on Saturday. Exactly. It's a different matchup and team. I agree. Thank you for the comment in the chat, super chat. There was one other one I wanted. Ron Gonzalez says running is how you beat the bigs. Yeah, but you can't run if you don't stop them and get the rebound. You can't run against a set defense. And you can't run when they're getting offensive rebounds. And you can't run when the refs are allowing you to hold off the ball. A lot of things play into whether you can run or not. Has there ever been a team, like, I mean, you think about the Showtime Lakers, they're known for that style. But even like the 7 seconds or less Suns, part of the criticism of them was they were too finesse and too soft. You have to be able to, like, if the Fever were just running all the time, no chance they win. No chance they win at all. That's not how you have to be able to play ugly to win in the playoffs. Have to. So that's why it's an encouraging sign. Like, that's, that's an encouraging ass win. To be able to play that way and win. Make it ugly. Lindy says Fever pulled it together despite shutting CC down even with mediocre play. Exactly. Chicago Cheetah, Angel Reese is mentally checked out, so we're really going to see where, well, in fact, my pitch should be sitting out. That's a little ridiculous. But Ryan Howard is a terrific player. Terrific talent. At least. Well, she is a terrific player. I think she can be an even better player than she is consistently because of her talent. That's what I'm trying to say. Exactly. It's impossible to win without half court. Like, it's going to be all right, guys. Dee Dee did do a good job on BG. Peggy, agree. That's what she came in for. All right, y'all. I got another minute or two. I do have to get all my affairs in order before I get to the airport. But I wanted to hit up a live chat with everybody today. You guys are the best, even when you're crashing out. At least, like I said, I'll take the crash outs when they're about basketball. It's a lot better than the alternative. Subscribe to the channel. You can check out my articles today. I wrote about both the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever. Links are in the description. But encouraging wins for the Indiana Fever. Or encouraging win for the Indiana Fever. Discouraging loss for the Chicago Sky. And I would say an encouraging back-to-back. UTP says Liberty is going to destroy the Fever. We'll see. I don't know. Again, this is not 1-to-1. You can't take what happened last night and apply it to the results of the Liberty game. Because I think the Fever match up much better with the Liberty than they do the Dream. The concern I have against the Liberty is the third game in 5 days. That's the concern. Not the personnel, not the coaching, none of that. But in the course of a season, those are the type of things that can lead to losses and get ignored sometimes when people are actually like taking things without the proper context. But as Ron Gonzalez says, matchups matter. And that's not to say that the Liberty aren't a great team. They are. Of course they are. They're the defending champs. But I don't think they pose the same exact problems to the Fever that they do with overall length. I mean, their overall length is going to make it tough in the passing lanes, but not from that massive size standpoint. And Atlanta is indeed underrated. All right, y'all. Until the next one.